I don't think I told Richard this, but I mean, like when I got home on this last trip, we did a month, we did 5 weeks, and I fully was cussing when I came home, and I was like, Dad, I don't even cuss, and I was fully dropping F-bombs and all this stuff, and so, but I mean, just to have that accountability, like, gets me through these tours, so you just have to have that, I think, on these trips.
Yeah, I think you have to wear your heart on your sleeve, man. If you're hurting, if you're struggling, like, the Bible says that what does it say? Like, whoever confesses his sins, right, shall obtain mercy. But whoever you try to keep him in secret, like, God resists the proud, you know? So if you're struggling, like, it's not like we need each other. So I'm always, like, there's wisdom in that, though. There's wisdom in that. Like, ask God to put people in your life that you could just be super transparent with. You know, like, if you bleed, I bleed.
Like, I picked Richard and David Riesbeck because they skate professionally and they know where I'm coming from. But if I ask, like, a friend of mine that, like, doesn't even skate, then he can't really relate. So that's why that's why we have them for accountability.
Something I told somebody else this morning, but as far as skate ministries go, like, I really believe there's a lot of power in road trips, and you guys that have, like, functioning skate ministries and you have kids that you're investing into, like, take them out of there every now and then and go away for a few days and do, like, a skate trip, you know, and take them to some skate parks. Because the one thing I've noticed is, like, it's almost like better accountability on the road because our guys don't have internet. They don't have, like, cable TV. They don't have, no MySpace, like, all that stuff. I mean, our guys, they've been on the road for 5 months, and the other day one of them was like, dude, I haven't checked my MySpace in, like, 3 months. And he was, like, on it every day before that, you know? And so it's almost like it's cool to see God pull them out of that and put them in a place where it's just, it's pretty bare bones, you know? It's like you don't have much to do except for focus on the Lord or sleep, you know? So it's...
Got a question, actually, for the Ramp 48 Plus guys. So there is, what do you know? I'm just a youth pastor of a 90-person church. I'm like the worst poser. I'm not even a skater, what I say. And how do you deal with the kid? You know, approach the kid with that feels like his image is going to be lost. You know, if he comes to the Lord. You know, like, am I going to be a true skater? Am I going to be able to walk amongst my friends? I mean, like I said, it may sound like a stupid question, but I kind of see that there's, like, an image involved, and you're like dying to yourself on that. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. But I think deep inside, they're just begging for it. And I think as in skate ministry, and you see these kids, and you see that as, like, an outward cry of that they want something different. And so for us, we don't see it the way you presented it. We see it as an opportunity. We go, oh, that kid is just prime to know Jesus because he's just manifesting every outward sign for attention or for something to belong or something like that. So for us, it's like, wow, I want to go talk to him and just love him and share God's love with him and watch what God can do in his life. So that's actually an opportunity for us. Hope that helped.
It did.
Yeah, I think also to answer that question, I think the biggest part of my testimony is that when I started skating, it was early 90s, and the skate culture was a lot different. There wasn't a lot of skate ministry, and I thought that being able to roll a joint well was as important as to be able to kickflip. And so I had those, like, it was the same thing. Like, if I didn't do graffiti, if I didn't fight, I wasn't a skater either. And so what I try to tell kids, like, when I correct them on their language or their attitude, and they're like, you don't want me, you're not accepting who I am. And I'm like, dude, like foul language, a thief, like a liar, that's not who you are. That's who you've been twisted into.
Yeah, it's real good.
That's not your identity. You're a son of the living God, whether you've accepted him yet or not. You're God's creation. He formed you, and he didn't form you to be this, you know. He formed you for something greater. And so I think I use a lot of slogans in my ministry, kind of like Richard, like, has his little rhyming words. But I say that, like, like before I was saved, I thought skateboarding and a relationship with God were contrary, but now they're complementary. If you're good at skateboarding, you're a unique person. You were born in the 21st century to skateboard. You were also born in the 21st century to serve God. And so a relationship with God and skateboarding isn't contrary, it's complementary. You're more of who you're supposed to be, you're more of who you're made to be if you're a skater and a believer, not a skater and a stoner. So I think that's a great way to encourage kids.
All right, we need to start wrapping this up, so we're going to take 2 more questions. I've got 1. Anybody else? 2. Those would be the last 2 questions right here.
Just 2 seconds on adding to that is that a lot of our society and culture is painted skateboarding as such a negative thing that to encourage them that it's a good sport, that they're good at it, that it's a gift that God has given them is just a whole nother way to pour into their lives and to build their self-esteem. And I know we related with Chris when he said when we got saved, or when I got saved, I thought I had to give up snowboarding and skateboarding and the things I love, and it was like this amazing gift to realize that I could still be a believer and do those things and that they were gifts from God. So it's just a cool way to encourage them even more.
Yeah, and I just want to add one more thing on that is that we just tell them that God, he doesn't want to change who you are, but he wants to change your heart. And it's about the heart. It's not about the outward appearance. You can still be the same cool kid you are, but now you're going to be much cooler because God has your heart.
All right, being from Pennsylvania, we have a lot of snowboard ministry also. Do you guys see God moving in the snowboard ministry as much as in the skate ministry, like throughout the world and throughout the country?
Are any of you guys in the snowboarding ministry, or have you seen it, or?
There's actually a huge move of God in the snowboard industry going on right now. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with a church in Mammoth called Lighthouse. It's like the only church in Mammoth. And pretty much most of the big snowboarders that you've heard of go to church there, attend church there in the winter. I don't know, like Kelly Clark, she's saved. Louis Fountain, like we talk to Louis on a regular basis, and he loves the Lord. And so there's the same movement that's happening in the skate culture. It's happening in snowboard culture. It's happening in the surf culture. Like I just believe it's coming out of like this individualistic mentality. You know, I think like for so long, all these guys were out kind of doing their own thing, and eventually you hit a wall and you realize you need something else. And it's just happening all around the board. You know, it's just like revival is breaking loose in the industry as a whole. It's not. I mean, it's happening in freestyle motocross. It's happening.
Bikes,
it's all
BMX,
over the place.
yeah.
You know. Razor scooters, Heelys.
Hey! I think I have the most important question of the day. Is anybody going to skate Alamosa Skate Plaza today? Because I don't know if these guys know, but there's a sick skate plaza, like 15 minutes. Have any of you guys skated, Richard or Chad? Have you guys skated it? Yeah, it's sick. Is anybody going over there? I need a ride. Sick. All right.
Hey, and for the snowboarding thing, Jim Rippey. You guys heard of Jim Rippey? Okay, he's. I talked to him last week at the Action Sports Trade Show, and he's just felt a calling into the ministry, like to really step up. So you might want to pray for him because he's a real big influence on the snowboarders. He's a legend, you know, in the snowboarding scene, and he wants to connect with me, and he wants to really impact the snowboarding industry. And you know, we're boarders, you know what I mean? We skateboard, we surfboard, we snowboard. So we really are complementary of each other. So we're ready to, you know, go out and into that field. Just because I skateboard, I love snowboarding too. You know, I don't surf, but I want to surf so that I could preach the gospel to surfers. You know what I mean? And so those are things that we want to do. But it is happening in the snowboarding industry.
And real quick too, if you guys want to check out a really cool resource, there's some guys out of Seattle right now. It's called the Nations Foundation, and Joel Parker and I can't remember all their names, but anyway, they're working on a big video project right now. They're pulling all these pro snowboarders together, and they're putting together a huge video. And I know, like right now as we speak, they're in New Zealand filming for the film.